This is Nick.
This is Jack.
It's Thursday, the new Friday, November 6th, and today's pod is the best one yet. This is a T-Boy.
The top 3 pop business news stories you need to know today.
Yeti stocks are near all-time highs, and so are our full stomachs.
Last night, we went to Little Original Joe's Pizza.
Yeah, not to be confused with Joe's Pizza or Classic Joe's Pizza.
We also bumped into 2 Yetis.
We did.
What were their names? Carlos and Diego.
Carlos and Diego, a couple great Yetis from Costa Rica, now living in the Bay Area doing tech.
Tonight, we're going to Rad House, which is my favorite German-themed, bike-friendly restaurant in San Francisco.
You know what they say on Wall Street, Jack? Ach ja. 3 fantastic stories for today's show. Jack, what do we got on the T-Boy?
For our first story, America just finished what we're calling the Capitalism Election.
Because it all came down to the unholy trinity of American unaffordability.
For our second story, hold Tory Burch, sell Gucci, buy Isabel Marant.
Besties, the new financial flex is treating your fashion wardrobe like a portfolio.
And our third and final story. Tomorrow could be the biggest day of the year because Elon Musk could quit as CEO of Tesla.
Because today, Tesla shareholders vote on his $1 trillion shareholder package. Or as Rihanna would say, better have my money.
And if they say no, Elon says he's out. But Yetis, before we hit that wonderful mix of stories.
Fantastic mix of stories, Jack.
Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowl rings.
Yes.
3 MVPs.
Okay.
2 ex-wives.
Count them.
And 1 dog.
I'm sorry, Jack. I think you mean 2 dogs.
No, I mean 1 dog.
Yeah, but really 2 dogs because Tom Brady just cloned his dog.
Get this. Remember that anti-extinction startup that's bringing back the dodo, the mammoth, and the saber-toothed tiger?
Yeah, it's called Colossal. They're worth $10 billion. Jurassic Park-style company. We did a story on it.
Well, it turns out Tom Brady is an early investor, and he's cashing in on some perks right now.
Because just before his family dog, Loewe, passed away sadly in 2023...
Tom Brady snagged some of her blood, handed it to Colossal, and said, 1 clone, please.
That's right, besties. Tom Brady got Colossal to clone his pet.
They copied and pasted his puppy.
They doubled his doggy.
Tom revealed it all in an interview on Tuesday with People magazine.
By the way, the new dog, the clone, it's named Junie.
Different dog,
Yep.
Same DNA, different name.
That bark, though. Oh, it's the same bark.
And on the same day that Tom revealed his pit bull mix is actually a clone, Colossal announced they acquired a pet cloning company.
Because celebrities, they've been cloning their pets for years now.
Apparently, it costs about $50,000 to clone your pet, I heard.
Not too shabby. 2017, Barbara Streisand cloned her dog.
2022, Paris Hilton famously cloned her chihuahua.
Jack reminds me of one of our most famous fundamental rules of business. P-U-P-P-Y.
People ultimately prioritize puppies.
Yeah. Let's hit our 3 stories.
15 years before this song, 2 boys from the Northeast met in the dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. T-Boy City on your at list. If you know, you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, Democrats swept on Tuesday, and it's being called the Capitalism Election.
Because there's a pattern that explains this election,
Yeah, there is.
last year's election, and probably next year's election.
What is it, Jack?
The unholy trinity of American unaffordability.
But Jack, first, let me just read off the names of the big banks to you. We got Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Zoran Mamdani?
Yetis, a majority of New Yorkers voted for a Democratic socialist named Zoran Mamdani to run the capital of capitalism.
And it wasn't just New York's election. In Virginia and New Jersey, voters overwhelmingly elected a Democrat in their governor's races.
And in response to Texas gerrymandering their congressional districts earlier this year, Californians voted Tuesday to do the same.
Now, interestingly, in each of these elections, predictions markets were correct, right, Jack?
Yes, but Democrats won by even wider margins than expected.
However, it was in New York City's mayoral election that the New York Times called it the Capitalism Election.
Because capitalism was basically on the ballot.
I mean, Jack, as a couple capitalist guys over here, how's capitalism been doing these days?
Well, Gallup began polling Americans on their opinions of capitalism starting in 2010.
Okay, and what kind of numbers are we looking at?
This year, Just 54% of Americans hold a positive view on capitalism. That's down from 60% since 2010.
Feels like a moment we can't press the cha-ching button, Jack.
True.
But besties, this leads to the biggest name among the election 2025 winners, and that name, again, Zoran Mamdani.
Like Bernie Sanders, Zoran calls himself a democratic socialist, and now he is governing Wall Street.
Literally. Now, one key reason for his victory, it's the strategic use of social media.
The successful use of social media. Zoran has 2.4 million TikTok followers, compared to Andrew Cuomo's 17,000.
That's 150 times more. But the key within that social media strategy was growing his audience with financial humor.
Yeah, he coined the phrase halalflation.
Yeah, the food
to
trucks.
express something every New Yorker understood.
The white sauce used to be free and now it's not free, basically.
But now comes the hard part for Zoran. The governing.
Right. Because if Zoran wants to raise taxes on New Yorkers earning more than $1 million and corporations as well, the mayor cannot do that without approval of the state lawmakers.
He will also need help with his rent promises. He wants rents to come down. That can't happen without the help of private real estate developers.
Now, New York's financial elite did say that Mamdani's election would result in businesses and the wealthy leaving the city.
On that note, bizarrely, yesterday Texas's Governor Greg Abbott said he would impose a 100% tariff on any New Yorkers who want to move to Texas
I
now.
mean, we're good people. We're good people.
Yes, you are good people.
But Florida is doing the opposite in this situation, which...
Unsurprisingly, they're not
Yeah.
just advertising their beaches. They're advertising their 0% corporate and income tax rate to try to get New York businesses to come south.
So maybe when you add it all up, it could have just been a big bluff. Many Wall Street leaders right now, like Bill Ackman, have already congratulated Zoran Mamdani.
After ripping on him and saying there would be an exodus if he got elected.
It looks like Wall Street may try to work with the mayor instead.
But we're most interested in the winning political trend of the last 3 years that Nick and I have noticed.
And we got an analogy for it. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies who are everyone watching the capitalism election?
Groceries, rent, and healthcare. That's the unholy trinity of American unaffordability.
Yetis, the economy has always been a decisive political issue, but in the last 10 years, it's more specifically focused on affordability.
2024 was the grocery election.
And that's what we called it. Trump won on a promise to lower the price of eggs.
2025, what just happened this week, was the rent election.
Zoran, he was laser focused on the rent in New York being too damn high.
And 2026, we bet next year's midterm elections will be the healthcare election.
We do, because food, rent, healthcare, they make up 55% of the average American's cost of living, and those are the biggest price pops of the inflation era.
The price increases of rent, healthcare, and food have been relentless.
Okay, now, Jack, we did say the unholy trinity, but you could say like the four horsemen of unaffordability too, right?
Toss Disney Plus in there to round it out as four, because
what?
Disney Plus price hikes, they come monthly.
Yeah, Mickey, why you keep jacking the price up on us?
Yetis, Americans are desperate for relief from unaffordability, specifically with groceries, rent, and healthcare.
And the elections of 2024, 2025, and we think 2026 show that the key to winning elections is focusing on the economy's unholy trinity. For our second story, a wild new trend has emerged. Buy-sell recommendations for items in your wardrobe.
We'll tell you why you should buy Gucci, sell Prada,
Oh, yeah.
and hold your Tory Burch.
Hold on to it.
It's all about life dividends.
Oh, Yetis, in this economy, the hot new thing, it is the old thing.
It's the old stuff.
Yeah, it's the good stuff.
Secondhand, it's number one in the fashion age during inflation.
Yeah, there's no price pop on your grandma's old Prada, is there, Jack?
That's why stock in ThredUp, an online resale marketplace, are up 400% so far this year.
And why The Real Rail, another online resale marketplace, announced record earnings back in August.
There's no tariffs when their supply comes from your closet.
Perfectly put, Jack. But besties, all the attention lately is not on the financials of these companies. It's actually on The Real Real's resale trading report that just dropped on the fashion community.
Nick and I jumped in T-Boy style to that report.
We did. And what kind of numbers are we looking at in the wardrobe, Jack?
Searches for Christian Dior on The Real Real are up 114% this year.
Because Christian Dior just changed their creative director.
Balenciaga searches are up 310%.
Because their fashion label just got a new designer.
And Loewe dresses.
Nailed the pronunciation, Jack.
Searches are up nearly 500% on word that their famous designer is leaving the company.
Jack, call up Jim Cramer. Bottega Veneta handbags are popping like meme stocks these days.
This luxury labeled data has led to a fascinating new thing.
Yeah, it has.
Secondhand fashion analyst reports.
And honestly, Jack, considering we used to work in finance, like this makes sense, right? Like luxury clothing, handbags, shoes, they can rise and fall in value on the secondary market.
Financial analysts give investment advice for stocks, which is a secondary market. Now it's happening for luxury clothing.
We do it for stocks. Why not for stilettos?
The Real Girl is a blog that built a portfolio based on this secondary market data.
Yeah, she has structured her analysis just like JP Morgan would.
And her latest report says buy Gucci, sell Isabel Marant, and hold Tory Burch.
This isn't investment advice, but it's kind of investment advice. All right, well, how does the analysis work on this fashion stock portfolio, Jack?
The Real Girl noticed that Tory Burch consignments are down 2% on the Real Real. So more people are not selling their Tory Burch items.
And therefore her interpretation?
People are wearing their Tory Burch instead, which leads to the recommendation. Hold your Tory Burch shoes if you got them.
In this case, hold means wear them. You know, they're a hot fashion right now and you want to look on trend.
Go outside. You'll look fabulous. Apparently now's the time to wear your Tory Burch.
Okay, but Jack, on the other hand, searches on The Real Real for Isabel Marant ruffled blouses are up 54%, a signal of high demand.
And since that style is so specific, it might go out of fashion tomorrow.
Yeah.
So if you have that blouse, you should sell it right now.
Are you selling it, Jack?
On The Real Real? Yeah, I'm doing it.
Besties, added up in the stock market and the fashion market are both secondary markets.
And now we're getting the same level of sophisticated analysis.
So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies who are everyone pouring through their wardrobes right now?
Introducing the financial concept of life dividends.
Now, Yaddies, I got to pause the pod here. Jack told me about this concept, and I hugged him when I heard it. All right, we'll explain it. The definition of an asset first. It's something that you own that promises future economic benefits.
For stocks, which are an asset, those benefits are someday selling for a gain or receiving a cash dividend.
Many stocks pay dividends, a small cut of the profits that's sent to each shareholder every quarter or so.
Okay, so stocks are an asset. What about a luxury Louis Vuitton dress? Those are assets too, because you might be able to resell that dress for a higher price someday.
And Jack, while it doesn't pay a cash dividend on that dress, we would say the dress pays a life dividend.
You wore that dress on your first date.
Yeah.
You wore it to your best friend's wedding.
Totally.
Or you wore it on your third anniversary dinner.
Besties, when you bought it, that was an asset that paid you economic value in the future. Value in the form of life experiences.
Each of those life moments were like a little cha-ching.
There you go, Jack.
A little emotional dividend.
So, while some assets in life don't pay a cash dividend like a stock, they do pay a life dividend. And Jack, I love that concept.
Life dividends.
Yeah.
That's what life is all about.
Hey, Yetis, if you're a bestie, take a sec and hit that subscribe button.
And like this video while you're at it. If you leave a comment, by the way, we'll read it.
For our third and final story, we got one other election for you. Tesla shareholders finish voting today on Elon Musk's $1 trillion pay package.
Financially speaking,
Yeah?
Tesla is a cult. And this vote could determine the fate of its cult leader.
Now, besties, we all know the biggest bonus in history. Remember that one, Jack?
We covered it early on the pod.
Yeah, Alexander the Great. When he took over Babylonia, he gave himself like $100 million, right? Yeah. No. Elon Musk actually is the one who received the biggest bonus in corporate history.
He received over $50 billion earlier this year for turning Tesla from a small EV company to a massive car company.
But now Elon is up for the biggest bonus in world history.
To quote Dr. Evil, $1 trillion.
Yeah, get this, besties. The chairwoman of Tesla's board,
Who in theory is Elon's boss, but in practice very much isn't.
yeah, she told Bloomberg News why Elon deserves a $1 trillion pay package.
She said that if Elon doesn't get this pay package approved by shareholders today, he will quit the company. Or essentially quiet quit.
After all, Jack, Elon does have XAI, SpaceX, Twitter, Neuralink, and The Boring Company, a bunch of other companies that he could be spending his time with.
So the whole point of this $1 trillion incentive package that Tesla set up is to keep him motivated, quote unquote,
Yeah.
on Tesla.
And as we explained in our last story on this earlier this year, Elon only gets paid if he makes Tesla shareholders rich.
So ultimately, this bonus package, it's the ultimate put up or shut up deal.
So, besties, we got to vote here. When investors are uncertain about a decision like this, what should you do? Well, you could go back to the fundamentals.
And based on the fundamentals, Elon definitely should not get paid this much.
Yeah, and there's some examples of this we're seeing. Like ISS, which advises shareholders on how to vote on things like this, they recommended voting no.
And the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Norway, a huge Tesla investor, publicly stated this week that they already voted no.
Jack, why are these big investors voting no on Elon's deal?
Well, they described the bonus as astronomical.
Yeah.
Which at $1 trillion is.
I mean, you'd think like a half or even $250 billion. Yeah, that'd be pretty good, right?
I think that should be enough to motivate somebody.
Yeah. Also, this kind of puts all of Tesla's eggs in the Elon basket.
And Elon is not the most stable of baskets.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he wants to go to Mars.
Yeah, he may not be on this planet in a few years.
But there are supporters, of
yeah.
course.
Dan Ives, who manages a popular investment fund, is voting yes on this deal.
So is Kathy Wood. They both want to give Elon a quote-unquote bright green light to move forward with his Tesla master plans.
And you know what? The truth is, though, this isn't really about the money. It's about the power.
Elon's already the richest person in the world.
Yeah.
What he wants is more control of Tesla in the form of more shares of the company.
It's not about cash. It's about control.
Oh, and Elon? Yeah, he's taking this vote personally, which leads to our takeaway.
So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies who are everyone over at Tesla?
Tesla is the ultimate story stock, and Elon is the only one who can tell the Tesla story.
Yeah, it's a story premium. Yet Tesla's revenues, they're down in the last 2 years. Profits also down 65% in the same period.
And yet, Tesla stock has doubled over the same period and now sits at an all-time high because of a great story.
That's the story premium. The story is that Tesla is not a car company. It's a robotics company with plans to take over the world.
Robo-taxis and humanoid robots. They're going to make Tesla the world's first $10 trillion company.
But as Elon actually said last month, this is a direct quote, "I just don't feel comfortable building a robot army here unless I own 25% of the company."
Tesla is a cult of personality. And without the cult leader, the stock is going to fall.
So, besties, if shareholders want the stock to stay high, they should vote yes and give Elon this record bonus.
If out of principle you don't think Elon deserves this kind of a bonus, or you just think it's wrong because it's too much money to give one person, the smarter move would be to sell your Tesla stock instead of vote no.
Because Tesla is the ultimate story stock, and Elon is the only storyteller. Jack, could you whip up the takeaways for us for the new Friday?
Democrats swept elections nationwide on Tuesday, with a socialist now running the capital of capitalism.
Rent, food, and healthcare. That is the unholy trinity of unaffordability.
For our second story, the Real Real's resale shopping report was actually rich market data.
Honey, hold the Tory bird!
So now we're getting buy and sell recommendations for secondhand luxury.
Besties, if you own nice things that you like to use, those are assets and they pay life dividends.
For our third and final story, Tesla's shareholder meeting is today. We'll learn if they approved Elon's $1 trillion pay package or not.
We think they will because Tesla's a story stock and only Elon can tell that story.
But besties, this pod's not over yet. Here's what else you need to know today.
First, the Supreme Court heard arguments today about the lawfulness of President Trump's tariffs.
Because tariffs are taxes.
True.
And Congress controls taxes, not the president.
So the president's argument is that this is an economic emergency, but the justices, they don't appear to be buying it right now.
So soon, they could rule that Trump's tariffs are illegal, meaning the Supreme Court could end the trade war.
And second, crazy movement yesterday after hours on Wall Street, just like the most insane stock trading we've seen all year.
First, Snap stock jumped 25% on news of a $400 million deal with Perplexity, the AI company.
And then DoorDash said, hold my beer. It dropped 20% on missed earnings and just too much spending on delivery robotics.
And then Robinhood stock fell, despite doubling their revenues last quarter, driven by predictions markets.
And finally, the government shutdown's now the longest in history, but it's officially hitting your flight plans.
The FAA is canceling 10% of flights at 40 major U.S. airports starting Friday.
Yeah, because the FAA is short-staffed. Workers appear to be Ubering to make money on the side since they're not getting their usual paychecks.
So the FAA is reducing flight traffic to try to keep us safe. And I have 3 flights between Friday and Sunday.
Jack has more travel this week than in any other period of his life. You have 3 flights like in 24 hours.
I'm red-eyeing back to the East Coast on Thursday
so you
to
can
Friday,
fly to another part of the East Coast.
so that
on
my
another
family
flight.
and I can go to New York. Yeah.
So good luck. Now time for the best fact yet, and this one is some special T-Boy trivia because today, Jack and I are interviewing the CEO of Lyft.
His name's David Risher, and get this, before working at Lyft, David was employee number 35 and employee number 37 at two epic companies.
Yes, he was one of the first 50 employees at two giant big tech companies.
They're both worth $1 trillion.
And now he's the CEO of Lyft. So our trivia question, what is it, Jack?
What are those two companies that David Risher was the first 50 employees at?
Bonus points if you know why Lyft is the color pink. Yetis, you look fantastic for the new Friday, Jack. All right, we got to hit the hair and makeup for this interview. You ready for this?
No, I got to go to Rat House first.
I know.
All
right, so we'll get a pretzel, then we'll do hair and makeup. Besties, drop your questions you got for the CEO of Lyft in the comments, and Jack and I will see you on tomorrow's pod. And before we go, congratulations to legendary Yetis Allison and Jordan from Long Island and Wyckoff, New York on their 1-week wedding anniversary. Best week in the books. You look fantastic.
Happy birthday to Alan Vinecourt, who's turning 30 in Charlotte, North Carolina. This man is also a brand new Uncle Alan.
And Hannah DeGracias is turning 21 years old down in Hotlanta, Georgia, interning at the governor's office.
And happy 26th birthday to Zachary Byer in Tampa, Florida.
And Spencer Patel, enjoy that 25th birthday of the mid-20s in Orlando, Florida.
And happy birthday to Tristan Ross in Fargo, North Dakota, the best movie theater GM in all of the North.
And action.
This is Jack. I own stock of Disney and Lyft, and Nick and I both own stock of Robinhood.